Y'all, you all were obsessed with me bringing you the tips and tricks on things that I bet you didn't know you could do with your Cricut. So guess what? We are back with more, except in today's video, I'm gonna be showing you things that I bet you didn't know you could do in Design Space. My name is Lauren and I'm a craft producer here at Makers Gonna Learn. And if you are new to our channel, what we are is we are a crafting community, a membership where we bring you inspiration, education, and motivation. Plus, if you are a member, you get thousands of cut files, hundreds of fonts with new cut files and fonts released to you every single month. If by chance you might be interested in signing up, y'all, click that first link down below. We have a special deal where you can sign up for our membership for only $1. Y'all, it blows my mind that we even have such a great deal for our membership, because with this $1, you get unlimited access to everything on our website for 7 days. Plus, you get 20 downloads, which equals out to 5 cents a download. Y'all, I don't know anywhere else where you can find downloads that cheap, but I definitely think you need to check us out. Try us out for $1. You can search the website. Like I said, you have unlimited access to all the curriculum, all the education that we offer to our members as well. And you can do that only for $1. With that being said, let's go ahead and hop over into Design Space so that I can show you things that I bet you didn't know you could do. Now that we're here in Design Space, let's start off super simple. You see we have nothing on our canvas. We are working with a blank white canvas, but y'all, did you know that you can change the color of your canvas? Now I know you're thinking, Lauren, no, how do I do that? If you look down here at the bottom right hand corner, it says blank canvas. When you click this box, everything up here at your top taskbar changes. It kind of all goes away. Except for the color right here. What you can do, click on that color, and then you can choose any color canvas you want to work with. Now this is great if you are working with stickers, if you're making stickers that you want to have a white offset, or you're working with other materials that do have a white offset. It's really, really great to change the color of your canvas so that you know if something has things that you need to be removed or added, things like that. Let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. So if we go over here to our uploads and we just upload a print and cut image, we'll start with this one right here. We're gonna add that to Canvas. Because my background is gray, I can see that if I were to print this out and cut it without adding an offset, Cricut is going to cut every single thing that you see gray. It's gonna cut around all of your squares, it's gonna cut around all of your letters and things like that. So, like I said, especially helpful if you're working with print and cut so that you can see what is going to cut, what is not, because if this canvas was white, you might think, oh, it's gonna cut out this whole square. But by changing the color of our canvas, we know now that we do have to add an offset to this so that it can cut all the way around it. Now, while we're talking about our canvas, before we get into designing features, did you know that you can turn off or turn on your grids and have different grids? If you didn't, let me show you how. First, you're gonna go up to the 3 lines in the top left corner. You're gonna come down here to settings, and then you're gonna go to your canvas. Now, this is where you can turn it on or off. You can have no grid. You can have a partial grid, which is going to give you inch by inch lines, or you can have a full grid, which is going to give you all of the different measurements within your inches. So it's going to give you your quarters, your half, your eighths, all of that. So let me show you exactly what I mean. Here you can see when you zoom in with a full grid, you have a line at every interval. So you have a line for your half, you have a line for your quarter and your eighth, and so on. If we go back to our settings and we turn it on to partial grid, you then see we just have a line for each inch. So this is just going to be a personal preference, and let me change this back to white so that we can see it just a little bit better. This is going to be a personal preference if you want to work with a grid, if you want to not. this is, like I said, this is just something you can do within your settings, is turn on and turn off that grid. It's really helpful depending on different projects that you might be working on. It may be helpful for you to see the grid, for you to use those measurements or not. So just so you know, you can turn on and off the grid. Now, while we're in settings, let's talk about one other thing in settings. If you look here on the general page of the settings, you obviously can change your language that you are working in. Love that. But one of my favorite things to do is go back and forth between my application experience. So if Cricut is working on new features that they may be releasing in Design Space in the future, you can actually change from live to beta version. You can get kind of like a sneak peek of those features that may be coming out in the future if you change from live to beta. So let's change to beta and see if there is anything else that we can do. Now you do have to restart Cricut to do this, so you will have to save all your work if you're working on something. So we're gonna switch to beta. We're gonna click done. It's going to start it up for us. And then we're just gonna see if there's anything that Cricut has in the beta version right now that we might be interested in using. Now, while this is loading, one thing I do want to say is sometimes working in beta can be a little glitchy, so just be aware of that. There are going to be some new features that you may not have in the live version, and it's going to possibly be glitchy because it is not the live and it is going through beta testing. So just be aware of that. You can switch back and forth, but just know that it may be a little glitchy. So we're just gonna go ahead and sign in. So automatically with opening beta, I can already tell you it looks so different. I don't know if Cricut is coming out with a new update soon, but in beta version, this is different. We no longer have our three little lines on the side. So like I said, just be aware, if you switch to beta, things are probably gonna look a lot different. So we can toggle back and forth between home and canvas here on the tabs. One thing I did notice after kind of playing around with it, to get back to our settings, it is now moved over here. So under your name will be a drop down arrow. If you'll drop that down, you can then get to settings that way. So now we can go back to settings. And if we want to, we can go back to the live version, which we are going to do just because I really like working in the live. If there are new things that I want to test out, I will go to beta version. Now, if you do like to work in beta version and you do find an issue, know that to report an issue, you will come to your settings and you will click this button and report an issue. This is how Cricut really fine-tunes their beta version of Design Space. So if you do like to work in beta, you do see an issue when you are designing or cutting or things like that, always make sure you go and report that so that Cricut can fix that. They can get it ready so that once the live version is ready to go, there are no issues and everything is worked out, okay? So we're just gonna go back to live. Once again, it's going to restart Design Space, not a big deal. Here you can see it's restarting. So just know when you toggle back and forth between beta and live, Cricut Design Space will reopen itself. Now that we've talked about the canvas and our settings and things like that, let's really dive into some true design things that I bet you didn't know you could do in Design Space. So first thing is, let's talk about text. I love working with text in Design Space, especially some of the Maker's Gonna Learn fonts. I absolutely love them. However, I'm gonna pick on this font, Albuquerque, for just a second. Once again, this is a Maker's Gonna Learn font. I love it, but y'all, look how thin this font is. It's almost too thin, especially if you're wanting to cut small words. Like, it's almost too thin for Cricut to even recognize. But did you know that you can thicken your fonts? And this can be on any font. It doesn't even have to be a Maker's Gonna Learn font, but you can thicken your fonts, and let me show you how. So we're going to enlarge our text right here. Once again, this text is currently almost 9 inches in width and 7 3/4 inches in height, which is tall, and I still feel like it is super thin. So what you're going to want to do, if you want to keep your font style, but you want to thicken it a little bit, what we love to do is come up here to the offset. Now it's going to pop up a pretty large offset. We don't want it that large, so we're just going to backspace and then play around with how big the offset is. Here you can see the offset is around each and every letter. They are not touching each other. So I like that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit apply. That's going to put an offset, but y'all, we can pull this basic text down here and look, we have the same style font, but it is so much thicker and it is going to be so much easier for Design Space to cut. Now, one thing I do want to let you guys know is that if you do it as a text altogether, you can't use certain text functions on this offset, but let me show you a workaround real quick. So if you still want to thicken your fonts, but you want to be able to manipulate each letter individually, what you need to do first, and this is another little hack that you may not know you could do in Design Space, is go up here to Advanced and ungroup these 2 letters. What that is going to do is it is going to make each individual letter its own layer. Now, what I could do if I wanted to manipulate one of those, here you can see we have that T. I can move it around separately. So if I wanted to space this out and make even the text a little thicker than what I did earlier, you all could see that it was getting really close together, that those letters may have touched. We didn't want that. So what you can do, ungroup to letters, separate the letters out just a little bit, select them all, go back up to offset, and now I can even make it a little bit thicker if I wanted to. So let's try 0.2. That's still a little thick. We've got the X touching in the middle, but let's try 0.15. See what that looks like. Oh, not that. 0.15. There, it's not touching. I like it. We're gonna hit apply. And now the offset is still together, but it is spaced out so that you do have a thicker font. Now, if you wanted to just have individual letters, what you would do is just select each individual letter, come up here to your offset, type in the 0.15, apply, and then you would just add that offset to each letter, and now you have all of these different offsets that you can manipulate and move around themselves. So now that I've shown you how you can thicken your fonts, while we are talking about fonts, one other thing that I absolutely love is this next feature. So let's say you have ungrouped to letters because you wanted to manipulate and move each letter around individually. However, you are ready to line them back up, space them back out, and you're like, oh, now they're all wonky. They are not going to fit. What am I going to do? They're not going to fit in our blank, whatever. What am I going to do? And you know that you have, let's say, from 10 inches to work with. So from 6 here, we've got from 6 inches to 16. So we're going to move this over from 6 to 16 inches. Right? Okay. Still looks like weird, and I know you're thinking, Lauren, what are you doing? Hold up. Wait. Hear me out. So what you can do, although these letters are literally, we'll even move this one down here. They're everywhere. They're all over the board. What you can do, select them all by either dragging or dropping, or if you have other elements that you don't want to drag and drop, you can select them all over here on the layers panel. What we are then going to do, hear me out, we are going to go to align. First thing we're going to do is we are going to distribute them horizontally. So now they are evenly spaced apart across the board. And while they're all still selected, we're going to go to align and align them to the bottom. Y'all, Now you can see the T's are within those 10 inches and the other letters are evenly spaced apart from each other. I don't know if y'all knew that you could do that, but you definitely can, and it doesn't have to be just with text. For example, let's grab some circles and we'll make a couple different sizes. Like if you wanted to create a dotted line around let's say a sign, and you wanted to have dots around it, and you wanted to, we'll just duplicate that a couple times. We'll add in the big one over here. We'll put, oh, we don't want to do that. We'll put these in the middle somewhere. Let's go ahead and duplicate one more, and then we'll duplicate it again, and I'll make this one in between the two, okay? So we know we want two small ones, a big one and this one, and we want it to be between there and there, okay? Once again, stick with me. This doesn't have to be just with text. So we want all of these to be straight across, right? What we're gonna do first, select them all, arrange, distribute horizontally, okay? Then we're gonna go to align, and we're going to align them center vertically. And y'all, look, we have a straight line with different size circles, different size shapes that lines up and is distributed perfectly. We don't have to do the math anymore. Cricut does it for us. So this is a feature that is definitely one you must take advantage of, because I think once you figure it out and you learn how to work with it, it's going to be one that you use time and time again. Tip number, I don't even know how many at this point. Let's talk about if we have, remember, these are all ungrouped to letters, right? We see over here on the layers panel that they are all different layers, but we want to bring them back together. So what do? We select them all, we come down here, and we can either unite or weld, whichever one you feel like using. Normally I would use unite, but let's just say for this purpose, we're gonna weld those together. Let's say you've welded them, you've gone back out, you come back in, oh my gosh, I can't remember what font that I just used. It's not telling you over here because it says weld result. And in years past, Cricut has not really been the best at telling us what font we use, especially after welding. So even after a weld, did you know that you can still figure out what font you have used? All you have to do is go over here to your weld result, click the right click on your mouse, come down here to image info, and here you can see it shows us that the font that we used was Albuquerque. So even after you have welded your fonts or your letters together, you can go to, it will show you what font you have used. Now, this is just one font. Let's say you might be thinking, but Lauren, what if I use multiple fonts? Okay, well, we're at system fonts. Normally we'll do a script font with a blocky font. So let's just put this in here. Let's say we've just added this here. We're gonna weld these together. Beautiful. Right click, image info. It tells you both of them. Y'all, this is a game changer, especially if you love to use weld and you love to weld your text and images together. You can still right click, go down to the bottom where it says image info, and it will tell you what fonts and the names of the images that you used. Now, we've talked about fonts, we've done that for a bit. Let's talk about uploads. Did you guys know that once you upload an image into Design Space, it keeps it there for you forever? You don't have to upload it every single time you use it. Let me show you an example. So over here in our uploads, you can see we have uploaded so many different things. What do you want to bet? This snowman right here, when I hover over it, it says 16 dot winter snowman. I bet you money we have uploaded this snowman multiple times, and the reason I say that is because, fun fact, this specific snowman was part of one of the very first cut file releases within Maker's Gonna Learn. So if I was a betting woman, I would say this snowman is in here quite a few times, and honestly, I have no clue, but we're gonna find out together. So how you can do that, go to View All, and then if you search an image, let's just type in, what did we say? We're gonna hover over it, and it was winter snowman. Let's just type in snowman. Okay, first of all, this has been uploaded twice. Winter snowman did not come up, but we said it was, but look how many times the face has been uploaded. Y'all, that's so many times. 6 times? That's insane. So let's try that. I think it was 16.winter snowman. I told ya. Here it is once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, 7. 7 times this snowman has been uploaded. So just know, if you have uploaded an image into Design Space, you don't have to upload it even if you don't see it. All you need to do is search for it. I know that this didn't pop up when we searched for snowman, but I would just try searching for your image name, and how you can find your image name is by hovering your mouse over your image and it will pop up. So like this one, 16.winter snowman, this one is a screenshot, this one is outdoorsy. So you can see here that all of these have been, there are multiple files that have been downloaded so many times. And this is really cool because if you hop in on that dollar deal today and you use those 20 downloads, y'all, you can download those into Cricut Design Space. You've got them forever. I mean, we don't have a cut file police that we send to say, hey, that's a Maker's Gonna Learn cut file, we need that back. No, guys. It's yours once you download it. Now, I want you to be aware that it does revert back to a personal use license if you are not a member. But another perk of Maker's Gonna Learn is if you are a member, you have commercial use licensing with all of our cut files and fonts, meaning you can use those cut files and fonts and create things to sell to make money for yourself. So now that you've listened to my spiel, let's go back to Design Space and learn more things that I bet you didn't know you could do. So while we're here in our uploads, I want to add something to the canvas real quick because I want to show you an amazing sticker hack that I bet you didn't know you could do. So we're going to add this ho 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 to the canvas. You can see here that it is a beautiful print and cut image. I love the effects that it has, but let's just say you were wanting to make a sticker and you wanted to make it a little more, I don't know how to say it, but defined. Let's say you wanted to add a black outline to this sticker because I don't know about you guys, but I have noticed that if I'm making a sticker, especially when it comes to text, so we're gonna use this print and cut as an example, but I'm also gonna pull in a text and I'm gonna make like a thicker font. Let's do Andy. Andy is a cute one. And we're gonna type in, we'll type in Asher. I'm gonna change the color because let's just say our kids want a really cool sticker to put on something he loves. We'll do blue and then we'll add an offset because we want it to be together. So let's add an offset to this. Beautiful. We're gonna change the color because I don't know about you guys, but Asher loves things to be colorful. Purple is one of his favorite colors. So we'll just do blue and purple, okay? So looks really cool. It has like this cool black outline. It defines everything. But what happens when I go to flatten this is that black outline disappears, and it kind of like, especially if you have colors that are very close to each other, it seems like it just gets lost. Let me show you a trick of how you can get around that. So we're gonna unflatten this back. I'm going to just select Asher. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm gonna come up here to my operations. I'm gonna change it to a pen function. Now you can see we have a black pen function. However, if you go to this little square right here, you change it from fine point. You can do extra fine point gel, marker, different size markers. Let's do the 2.5 marker. It's pretty thick. Now you are gonna be limited to your colors when you do this. It is going to limit you to what Cricut has. Not all of them are going to be super limited, but for this, all intents and purposes, 9 times out of 10, we're going to use black for this. So here we're going to do black. We're going to pull this down. We're going to select all of those layers. We're going to align them center. And now we're going to flatten them all together, and I want you guys to see what happens. It looks exactly the same. It flattened with that pen layer, giving us a black outline around our sticker. Now, if you think, oh, Lauren, that's a little too thick, you can unflatten. That is our blue layer. This is our pen layer. We're gonna change it back to pen, okay? Change it, I said the marker, we thought the 2.5 was too thick. Let's go back to gel black. It's a little thinner. Select them all, flatten them together, boom, you have a thinner black outline. Y'all, that is a game changer, especially when it comes to making stickers. And you can do this on more than just text. So let's say we wanted to make this a sticker. We're gonna size this down. I'm gonna add an offset to it. Let's add a 0.4 offset. Beautiful, apply. I'm gonna change the color to like let's go to like a tan color. I think that'd be really cute. Love that. However, it still is like our ho 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 kind of gets lost. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna select that. We're gonna duplicate it. Once again, we're gonna change it to a pen function. Now you see we have all of the outlines. Beautiful. I don't want it on fine point. I think I want it on glitter black. I think that, and you could even make it really cool and like offset. Like, I love the offset of the outline. There are so many different things you can do with this. So let's just select them all, align, center, and flatten. And y'all, look how cute. It gives it a defined edge on your sticker. So just know that that is something that you can do, and that I love this when it comes to print and cut, sticker making, and things like that. Now, while we are here and we have a bunch of things on our layers, let's talk about the layers panel. Did you know that you can, obviously I love to work from the layers panel, but did you know that you can move things to front and back? So let's put all these together. We see that the text is in the back, the ho 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 stickers in the front, Asher's in the middle, but I want to bring that text to the front. There are a couple of ways you can do that. You can either go to arrange and bring to front, or did you know that from the layers panel, you can just move it to the top and it brings it to the front. Y'all, how awesome is that? You don't have to remember, oh, is it align, arrange? I can't remember. You can just pull this bad boy, bring it up there, and bring it to the front. I am obsessed with that. So you can arrange, bring them to the back, put them in the middle, anything from the layers panel, you just move back and forth. But did you also know that you can, if you have something grouped together, you can also add to a group that way as well. So let's just say we group our two stickers together. You can see here they're moving around in the group. The text is separate. Did you know that you can pull your text and add it into the group as well? And now if I select the group, they're all three together. Same thing, I can say I want to take Asher out of the group. You can still move them around individually, by the way, the whole group, but you can also ungroup things by selecting them and pulling them out. Now, the last thing about the layers panel is, did you know that you can rename your layers? So here you can see we have a weld result. If you want to, you can rename this as, we'll just put text because that's what it says. Or you can rename this one to ho ho ho. Or this one we can rename to Asher. So it kind of helps you stay separate, keeping things separate. You can even, so let's go to unflatten. And you see we have the ho 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 here. Here is the outline and here is the offset. So we can rename this one to outline. All this does is it helps you really keep your layers separate so that you know which ones you are working with. So if you don't want to move them on the canvas, you can work with them here. So just know you can move layers from up and down from your layers panel and also rename layers. Wow, y'all, so much information. I really hope that you have learned something in today's video. Maybe you learned a new hack, maybe you learned a new function. Drop your comments down below letting me know something that you may have learned, or even if you have something that you want to teach other people or let other people know, drop those in the comments as well. If there's a hack that I didn't show you all today and something that you can do in Design Space, drop that down below so that we can maybe add that to our next video. As always, if you have enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to our channel, and hit that bell notification so that you can get notified every time we bring you hacks, tips, tricks, and new crafts. Once again, don't forget to jump in on that dollar deal as well. 20 downloads for $1, 7 days, absolutely unlimited access to the Makers Gonna Learn website. First link down below, make sure you click that. And if you want to learn even more hacks, check out this video here.